Good evening, and welcome back to the one Celtic fans view. Celtic play Kilmarnock this weekend. We're going to have a look forward to that game, and we shall also see what's been going on in the land of Celtic. We'll get in some of the comments first of all, as we always do on this channel, because it is the one Celtic fans view, where we are all inclusive, and we're trying to get as many comments on as possible. Paul McCune was in first. Hail, hail. Kyogo Go, hope you're doing well, Baz. It's good to see that we're still top of the league. Sceneri said, evening from North London. Hail, hail. Green Machine is in the house. We shall not be moved. For the Hearts, the Hibs, and the Rangers, we shall not be moved. Good evening to all Celtic fans from Dublin. Says Vincent O'Brien, Chilpel, no matter how hard they tried, and oh boy, did they try, they are still not top of the league. Total bottlers, says Chilpel. Green Machine says, good evening to you. Vincent O'Brien, listen to the horse racing O'Brien. Graham Harris says, hail, hail, troops. And I was there over time. Hail, hail, says, smell the glove. Paul Imre's in the house. Norman's in the house. Even Baz Richards in the house. Joseph's in the house. And Alan Gunn. It ain't no fun to be a Hun, says the one and only Alan. Good evening. How are we all doing this evening? Well, we're all expecting the worst last night. I didn't watch the game, and I take it a few of you did. I did put on the results when it was at 1-1, and I thought, oh, well, that's an interesting one. That's an interesting result if it stays like that. I knew it wouldn't stay like that. But what it did mean, it meant that they had to score a shitload of goals to get top of the league. They are not top of the league. We are, and we're on 15,164. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure that you do. You get daily Celtic content, and this channel is not sponsored by anyone. It is. I've got a little website that does nada, and it's just original Celtic content for somebody that can't go to the games anymore because he fucking moved because of Brexit. How's that going anyway? Right, let's move on to some of the Celtic news, and we'll talk about the game, the upcoming game this weekend. Speak for yourself, they will crumble. Yeah, I think they will. Slaven says they reckon there'll be a second race title of the season. Not a chance. Right. Yes, Celtic play Kilmarnock at home this weekend. Celtic will be looking to make sure they can try and get 3 points so they can stay top of the table. It's imperative that we win by as many goals as possible. Against St Mirren, though, it's going to be a bit close. Kilmarnock. They could leapfrog St Mirren, into fourth spot if they pull off an upset at Celtic Park. But they won't do. They'll never pull off an upset, despite the fact that Celtic, since we last played Livingston on the 23rd of December, we have saw, and in fact it was before then, dropping those 6 points in December was silly as far as I'm concerned. It was we should have, look, it's done and dusted. The points have been dropped. The points have been dropped. And what's Richard Smith said? That he's been kicked off. I love it. Started already. Hail, hail, Paul. I've never seen what Richard said, but cheers, Paul, anyway. Yes. So when we look at it, we play Kilmarnock this weekend, dropping the points that we did do. I'm just looking at the league table. Kilmarnock are sitting in fourth on 36 points. St Mirren are sitting in fifth. So St Mirren, if they win at the weekend, St Mirren would go above Kilmarnock. We don't want Kilmarnock getting any closer to Hearts, and we don't want Kilmarnock winning at all this weekend. We want to take as many goals as we can off them. And it's going to be tight until we play them in about a month and a bit's time. In fact, it's just before the split. Let me just get up the fixtures again. The table fixtures. Let me get the fixtures back up. They play St Johnstone on the Sunday. They're away to St Johnstone. Away to St Johnstone, folks. We play Kilmarnock. Away to St Johnstone. St Johnstone are 10th in the league. St Johnstone are 10th in the league, and Kilmarnock are sitting 4th in the league. So it's going to be a case of how many will we put past St Johnstone, and how much we can put past Kilmarnock. It is going to be touch and cloth for the next couple of weeks. It's going to be one of those ones where the turtle head is shown and who will shit themselves first as far as the fans are concerned. We then go on to play, I'll forget about that. Anyway, who do you think the team will be for Brendan Rodgers this weekend? Celtic obviously collecting 19 points out of possible 21 since December. When you look at them beating Ross County at 3-1, not going top of the league because they allowed Ross County to score that goal. It's going to be an interesting weekend. Obviously, they've got the Scottish Cup coming up as well. Will Brendan Rodgers put out the same team that he put out the other day, or will he change the team again? Tell me what you think the team will be, first of all. I have no idea what team Brendan Rodgers will put out. Obviously, Kyogo Furuhashi returned to the starting lineup behind Adam Ida. I think he'll stick with that. I think he'll keep Adam Ida up front. It allowed Kyogo, but people have been moaning that Kyogo's been coming back too far back. Has Brendan Rodgers now found the ideal situation? Has Brendan found the ideal situation on how to use Kyogo and having that striker just in front of him to deflect the defenders and take the heat off of Kyogo a bit? The run from Palmer, you've got to talk about the ball, first of all, that released Palmer at the last weekend. You've got to look at that, the ball from Callum McGregor, which was absolutely sublime. It's a cracking ball from Callum McGregor to see that Lewis Palmer was going to make that run, and then Kyogo coming in late. I think it's something that we should keep that formation as far as I'm concerned. Slaven says we need to change it to. He needs to change it to a 4-3-3, a 3-4-3. Sorry, drop Mark O'Reilly and played Bernardo. Ooh, interesting one. It says Doc 1977. Someone is getting humbled soon, 5-6-0. Yes, Richard, I completely agree with you with that one. Even my brother said that. He says we've been due a team of tanking. We haven't really had a lot of high scoring games this season, and I think once it clicks, I think it's going to click in the next couple of games. And two strikers again on Saturday. Stephen, yes, definitely. I think he'll play the same kind of formation where Kyogo is just sitting. Kelly is our bogey team for us. We need goals to settle us early. We must win games, says James. They're not as much a bogey team as used to be. If you remember Kelly years ago, we really struggled at Kilmarnock, and when Kilmarnock came to Celtic Park, there was a good chance that they were taking points off us quite a lot. No rocket science bias outside the top four. We need to play two up front at home and away, says Hugh Costello. It's something that I've been banging on about for months. I said we should be playing 3-5-2. When it comes to Celtic Park, we get that much room at Celtic Park, and we get to use the width of the pitch. Having the two wingers out wide and playing a three, it kind of makes you into a five when the wingers come back a bit, but then you've only got one player up front. And that's been elusive for goals this season. Kyogo being up front himself has been like a man down. Let's face it, it's been like a man down, but nobody's been able to get a decent ball into him. Putting Adam Ida up front, I think, has been absolutely phenomenal for Celtic. And he's got that confidence after scoring the two penalties. He needs to score a goal from open play, Adam Ida. And I think once he does, he'll just hit the ground completely running. So the team for the weekend, I think he'll go with the likes of Hart. It's going to go with Ralston again because there's been no news yet. It'll be interesting to get if we get any news this week about our Canadian and how long he's out for. The fact that if he has got a fracture on this side of the head, I still think it's going to be a moment that's going to define the season, and he's going to be out for the rest of the season. You're going to have Welsh and Scales and at the back. He seems to prefer Welsh as a player. He likes Welsh from his first time here at Celtic. He seems to like him better than Rocky and Gustav Lagerbielke. Is there even any point talking about Gustav Lagerbielke anymore when it comes to Celtic? Will he even be in the squad? It's a completely bizarre situation. And then you're going to have Bernabe on the other side, unless the one and only Greg Taylor is fully ready fit. If Greg Taylor is fit, Greg Taylor will walk back into the team. In the middle of the park, Out wide, you're going to have Dyson Maida and Palma as per normal. It'll be normal service resumed for those pair. I think that although Maida has fantastic pace, I think it's something that we'll need against Kilmarnock. In the middle of the park, you're going to have captain never gets dropped, McGregor, and then Matt O'Reilly sitting beside him with Adam Ida sitting in front of those two, and or I don't know. Does he push Kyogo up front and then leave Ida? Or with Kilmarnock and their taller team, he will go with Ida up front. He'll go with Ida up front and Kyogo just sitting behind them so that Kyogo gets a bit of a free run. Because you've got to remember, sometimes at the Kilmarnock games as well, you've had situations where the defender, when they see Kyogo trying to make a run, the defenders will just run into him. They'll just barge into him. And that's why he's had that shoulder injury. He's had that shoulder injury because of off the ball incidents like that have not been getting picked up by VAR or even the referee or the assistants. Anyway, let's move on from that. Let's get back to some of the comments and see what you're saying. Lachore's in the house. You're going to the Rockore Festival this year, Michael? I believe that the tickets are out on sale for Rockore already. And if you know who runs Rockore, you'll know who I'm related to. And my old man was a stage manager for Rockore for the last couple of years. And there you go. There's something you never knew. Anyway, Smelly Glove says Alistair Johnson might have to wear a Peter Cage head cover for the rest of the season if allowed to play. I don't think he's even going to be allowed to play. I've just got a really bad feeling. Scales has been good all season. Yes, he has that. Strange Luck Doctor says the Flying Haggis. The Flying Haggis. You're just safe in the skies. Yes, you are. That was brilliant, wasn't it? Anyway, I was still trying to find out. Give me 2 seconds because I'd messaged someone and uh, oh dear, I'm just trying to find out something. But yeah, that was absolutely fantastic yesterday. Right, get back to some of the comments. Kevin's in the house and says he'll trip. Hugh says I want to see Vata getting a full game also. Play Bernabeu up one as his pace is electric. Who would you take off the field then to allow Vata to get a game? Who would you drop from the team? Because say this is the team that Brendan goes with, right? So you've got Hart, you've got Ralston, Welsh, Scales, and Bernabeu at the back. You want to move Bernabeu up into the midfield. So you've got Maida, Palma, O'Reilly, and McGregor in the midfield. If you want to move Bernabeu up, you're going to have to drop one of the wingers. And then if you're wanting Rocco Vata to get a full game, do you drop Matt O'Reilly? That's never going to happen. Unfortunately, you're never going to drop Matt O'Reilly and you're never going to drop McGregor. And he's never going to get past Adam Ida because he's not got the height that Adam Ida has. So then it would have to be Kyogo Furuhashi would get dropped. Would he drop Kyogo Furuhashi again? The best goal scorer in Scotland? I don't think so. The best that Rocco Vata can hope for, is coming on for. You've got to say it's going to be Palma. I think the best you can hope for Rocco Vata, unless Adam Ida's not doing fantastically well and he decides to play Rocco Vata through the middle with pushing Kyogo further up front towards the end of the game and then letting Rocco Vata play just behind Kyogo Furuhashi. That's an interesting one, but I mean, it's one that, you've got to ask the question. Vata can fetch the powers of the boys. No one. Yang is stronger. That was an interesting video this morning where Brendan Rodgers has been talking about how Yang is going forward. Sandwich Boy says it was sheer bloody magic. Everyone knows Elvis loves the Celtic. Yes, he does that. We will lose to Killie with Welsh, Scales and Bernabeu, says the one and only, always confident and always upbeat Slaven coming out of Ireland. That Elvis was comedy. It was great. It was that. and a little nod to the head to the guy who done the video. He's done some stuff before, and it was good. Vata has done nothing to get a start. Let him come off the bench first to smell the glove. I think he does need to come off the bench first. I think he's the type of player that I think he'd excel coming off the bench. Sometimes you get players that just they come off the bench and they don't do too much, but sometimes you get a player that can come off the bench and maybe is he the type of player to come off the bench and change a game, or is he still such a youth prospect that it's just about giving them game time? Giving them game time and letting them progress that way. Is he a game changer at this level? I don't think so. He did score that goal earlier on, just before the transfer window closed, but I can't see it. I can't see it. Smiller Gloves says Vat has done nothing. Green Machine says Kyogo is a big game player. With Ida being there, Kyogo will kick on and leave Ida on the bench. Leave Ida on the bench. Would you not play the formation that Brendan played with Kyogo just sitting behind Ida? Do you think that do you not think that the Brendan changing the tactics was good enough, allowing Kyogo to have that little bit of free room, and it was basically taking the heat off Kyogo? Let's face it, that change of formation takes the heat off of Kyogo from defenders, because the defenders are looking for big Adam Ida, and if he's on the back line and then Kyogo's getting to sneak about just in front, in between the sort of midfield and the defenders, I think it was a masterstroke by Brendan. Masterstroke to play the two of them. No one expected Brendan Rodgers to play that formation with the two of them. We've all been crying out for two strikers to be played. I think playing Kyogo just behind, for me personally, I think it was a magnificent piece of tactical awareness by the manager. Why has it took him so long? Because we've not had anybody, let's face it, we've not had anybody all season that Brendan says, you know what, he's a striker that can hold things up. O's the type of player, if tried playing O and Kyogo together at the same time, they were getting in each other's way. O's not the type of player to sort of bully himself about the middle. He's still a bit of a prospect thing, but with Adam Ida, it kind of worked well, I thought. But anyway, it wouldn't be alive without Lorna saying, "Hey, Uncle Stuart, I'm going to do something just now. Just this is just for you, Lorna." Hi, Uncle Stuart. Yeah. Anyway, don't say you don't get a laugh on this channel. Oh, the madness. The madness. Right, Green Machine says Kyogo was far forward on Saturday. St Mirren were well in the game until the penalty dropped, and then he came back. Ross Murphy says that was the first time in the season that we've looked a decent lineup and been excited. He needs to stick to that formation for the time being. It says Ross. He says Ross, and then Stuart comes back. You're allowed to say hello to each other or not. The magic buzz, perfect. Right, if you haven't give the video a thumbs up, make sure you do, and make sure you share the video also. I'm going to try something new with the morning videos. I want to try and see if we can get as many people to comment on the videos as possible, and the number of thumbs up on the morning videos. I want to try and hit around 300 to 400 thumbs up on the videos. Something that I've been trying on another channel. And it's interesting because you don't get paid as much for the lives either. Right, anyway, tell me your team in the comment section, and then we'll talk about what they think the score is likely to be on Saturday for Celtic versus Kilmarnock. My team, I'm going to go for Hart, Ralston, Welsh, Scales, Burnaby. Go with Burnaby. If Greg Taylor isn't 100%, I will go with Burnaby. But if Greg Taylor's 100%, Greg Taylor will take the place of Burnaby. And then in your midfield four, you're going to have Maida, O'Reilly, and McGregor and Palmer. And then Furiashi, and Adam Ida up front. Celtic will be determined to take all 3 points. They'll be determined to make sure that the score is many. Kilmarnock have Kilmarnock been a surprise addition to the league this year, or are Kilmarnock just performing the way that Aberdeen would have with Derek McInnes as manager? I tell you one thing, you've got to give a wee nod to Derek McInnes, because I mean, he knocked back the Sevco a few years ago, and he stayed at Aberdeen. He kept Aberdeen in third place for quite a while, um, for a long time, sometimes battling out with Hearts. But Derek McInnes as the manager is not to be knocked, especially when it comes to Scottish football. Um, It'll be an interesting game. Richard is going with 3-0. Sandwich Boy says Maida might miss a barrel load, but it's important. Goals and assists. He makes room for Kyogo. I don't feel he gets enough praise or love. Dyson doesn't get a lot of praise or love. I think he does get a lot of praise, but he frustrates you as a player sometimes. I think if Dyson had the finishing that that Jota had, if he had the crossing ability that Jota had, if he had that ability to just finish the ball coming off the wing, even like what James Forrest did in his prime. James Forrest could come down the wing, turn in, and if you look at the amount of goals that James Forrest did coming down the wing, turning in, and then scoring from the edge of the box, if Dyson Maida could do that, he's a 20, 30 million, he's another 20, 25 million pound player that wouldn't be at Celtic for long. Does he get enough praise? Probably not. He's an absolute beast of a machine once he gets up to speed, but he needs to keep on doing it. Paul Boyle says BBC Sports said that Sevco would top last night. It didn't happen. That's why I don't pay the TV license. Quite right. Nobody should pay the TV license in Scotland anyway. Nobody ever. Green Machine says will be a man short in the midfield if we go with the same formation against Kilmarnock. Not if we play a four in the middle. If we play, well, I can understand what you're saying. But then Kyogo needs to come back and defend a little bit more. Anyway, Dennis McInnes says no mugs his grey machine. He is not that. Papa Francesco, he'll Baz. McInnes recruits well. He does that. Celtic 4, Kilmarnock 0, says Vincent O'Brien. Will Celtic score 4 goals at Celtic Park? The fan base, and I know it sounds like I'm having a dig at the fan base, but when you look at the atmosphere at away games, and then you have the atmosphere at Celtic Park, all season we've been talking about this. All season we've been talking about the fact that Parkhead isn't this place that was feared. That teams were intimidated, and not by just being on the pitch. Teams were intimidated by the sheer noise of the singing. Now, has that become more apparent because of the split between the fans and the Green Brigade over this season? The fact that the Green Brigade were out for such a long time. The fact that there was a thing went on in October where the Green Brigade and the some of the fan base didn't get on too well. Has that split come through to the whole singing during games? There has to be something going on behind it, and the reason that the fans aren't as hostile at games anymore to away teams, and don't make Celtic the atmosphere as hostile as what it used to be. Tell me what you think about that. And points are more important. Gung Ho gets you done at the back, says Green Machine. Maida can't be everywhere in the starting 11. Just keep him for 2 Rangers games, just for the runabout. Otherwise, get him out. Oh, geez. Hugh Costello says, how can you say Vata's not a game changer? He has a decent chance. He might be wrong, but you can't say he's not a game changer. We just don't know. I'm asking if he's a game changer at this level. It's okay, maybe being able to do it at a youth level, but he's still a younger player. I'm saying, and I'm not saying we don't know if he's a game changer. That's the thing. I'm just asking the question: is he a game changer at this level? Is he the type of player that can come on and do something the likes of what Jota would do in a game? You know, be able to turn a game like that. Leo Labada, when he was at his best, can he come on and completely change a game like Leo Labada used to do under Ange Postecoglou? I'm just putting the question out there. It's like, does he have that in his locker to be able to come on? If he did have it in his locker, do you not think Brendan Rodgers would unleash that kind of prowess onto opposing teams? But he's been reluctant to do it in bigger games. Anyway, something today says 6-0 Graham Hart is over 5-0. I've not paid the TV license in a decade. What is the TV license? Hugh Costello says Palmer's not been a game changer either. but he seems first pick. It's not been a game changer. Look back to the last game and that cross where he looked up for Kyogo. He kept on looking up. You've got to watch. Don't just look at the cross and the ball coming to Kyogo. Look at the player and watch the player's actions and watch him looking up and watch and see how observant he is aware of everyone else on the pitch. For me, that was a game changer. Stuart McAllister is doing 4-0 and 5-0 on Saturday. It'll be £10 on Celtic. Hugh, tell me the games you've seen Vata play and how he deserves to play. Most people will just throw Vata's name about without backing it up. Paul Lemon says, even Stuart, just saw you coming in earlier. I was too busy shoving pizza into my gob to stay. Paul, I am starving. We're going out for food this evening. It is Thursday evening. We're going out for food. Jeffrey, the reason the noise has dropped is the boys from the schemes and out of work can't afford football. It is a different, more middle class support. It's not a lot. Jeff, I think there's I don't think it's more middle class support. I think the reason that the fan base is more diluted is there's more people go in cars. I know that a lot of the buses that the busing conveners that I talk to, they're still running full buses, but there's not as many people go on buses now. And a lot of the newer people that go on buses, let's say it, they don't go to Rebel nights. I think the older fan base of Celtic fans you would have your local Celtic supporters club would have a nightly year. They would have a Christmas dance or they would have an end of season dance, and that would more than likely have a Rebels night on. And I think that is something that not as many people go to in this day and age. And the modern day fan is less reluctant to go to that type of thing. Anyway, there has to be something in it, and I don't know because I stopped going when we stopped going for COVID, and then I gave up my season ticket just a year ago to somebody that could go, so that my seat didn't sit empty. Let's get it. Papa Francesco says 3-0 the Hoops, 3-0. I think he'll go to Maida. And Matt O'Reilly, hail, says Daenerys. Paul Baird, I'm still confident O will prove to be a Celtic player. You've got to remember, O's still young. And it's, Neil Lennon was talking about it after the game last weekend on how young this team is. And I think we kind of forget that as fans. It is a young team, which kind of it's good for the future because it will give us a bit of stability going ahead. There's not going to be as many players. There's not going to be such a big round of players, turnaround of players this summer. Not a chance. You'll be lucky this summer if we make 3 signings, depending on the Matt O'Reilly situation and maybe the Hatate situation. If those 2 players were to leave, if bids were to come in for them, and then you're going to have a good couple of players coming in. Yeah, Paul, I absolutely agree with that. The fan base are not united. They're not united the way that they were. I'd go even to say 10 years ago. When you look at 12 years ago, when they went into when they died, 10 years ago, 2 years after that, the fan base was completely united in everything. It was 10 years ago that Celtic fans got the Roll of Honour into the top 40 UK charts. The fan base were together then. The Celtic fans were together, and the Celtic fans made that happen. Okay, it was the majority of Celtic fans that were on Twitter and social media that made it happen, but a lot of them are the ones that go to games, and a lot of the ones that do that are probably on Twitter, because that's how they find out a lot of stuff, like Twitter or not. If you're not on Twitter, I go on it, but I'm rarely on it. I've had my account since God knows how long. But I don't go on it a lot, and I fell out of love with Twitter years and years ago. Anyway, it is the case that you're right with that, Paul. Jeffrey is hoping for a 3-1 comfortable win. Sandwich Boy says Albion Rovers bar was named the Hibs Lounge, and it was all Celts. And Hugh says O will come good. Yeah, I think O will come good. And then that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the youthness of this team. But is any news on Lowell Jr. getting his deserved jotters? No, and I'm not going to add to the speculation. I'm not going to add to the speculation until I've heard it from the horse's mouth, as they say. I will ask the question of my man who sits in the main stand. He will be at the game on Saturday at the main stand. I'll ask the question of him before the weekend and see if he hears anything about it. Jeffrey, yeah, it is so toxic. So I stopped going off on it years ago. But I will ask the question of my man who sits in the main stand in the director's box area of Celtic Park, and we'll find out if there's any news about Lowell Jr. and if he is to be departing. But until then, I'm not going to add the speculation that come from another YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I would like to say yes, but I would like to get a little bit of confirmation first. Martin says, even Baz, problem with winning everything for years is it makes people forget it takes time to build a new team and style. Baz, the junkies in Glasgow are talking about you today. Are they? What, the Huns, you mean? Oh dear. Anyway, right. What time is it? We are on. How many thumbs up have I had? Anyway, make sure that you give the video a thumbs up. Oh, bloody Alberts. There's 129 minutes. 50. There's only 58 thumbs up. There is only 58 thumbs up. Lowell will probably replace Lowell with another son. I'm not ending the video on that note. Not a chance. Not a chance. Right, so we'll go over my team again. You take control of the cream of the crop players in your league. You buy them because you know they can do it and plays against us. Says Johnny Briggs. Right, I'm going to go over my team again. I'm going to go for Hart, Ralston, Welsh, Scales, Bernaby. If Greg Taylor isn't 100% fit. And then I'm going to go with Maida, O'Reilly, McGregor, and Palmer in midfield. Furiashi sitting just behind Adam Ida. Adam Ida. And we've just gained a new subscriber this evening. Also, we're on 15,165. So on that note, I'm away for a meal with the good missus. Have a fantastic day, Celtic fans.